I want to start by talking about the piano keyboard. And the piano keyboard is a great place to start, whether you're learning a musical instrument or whether you're learning music theory, because a piano keyboard lays out for us visually and physically all of the notes and how they relate to one another. So let's take a look at a piano keyboard. Here you see a full-sized piano keyboard. This is a piano keyboard with 88 keys. You may have a slightly shorter keyboard. You might have a 61-key keyboard. But everything that we say today is going to apply to your keyboard as well. So before we get into the nuts and bolts of how the piano keyboard works, I want to just talk about a kind of a funny way that we talk about moving through the piano keyboard. When we move to the right on the piano keyboard, we talk about moving up the piano keyboard. So if I'm starting here and I'm moving to the right, we say that we're moving up the piano keyboard. If we move to the left, we say that we're moving down the piano keyboard. And that's not necessarily an intuitive way to think about it, because there's nothing physically about one end of the keyboard that's higher or lower than the other. But that's just the way we talk about it in music. And I'll be talking about it that way here today. All right. So one of the first things you'll notice is that there are two types of keys on the piano keyboard. There are these white keys, and those white keys, they're a little bit wider and they're a little bit longer. And then there's a second type of key. There's a black key, and those black keys are a little bit shorter. And if you have a keyboard in front of you, an actual keyboard in front of you, you'll see that those black keys are actually raised up about a half an inch above the white keys. And you'll notice that the black keys are not really evenly spaced. And that uneven spacing of the black keys is going to be really, really important for orienting ourselves on the keyboard. And let me start actually right up at the top of the keyboard, up here on the right. And notice the first group of black keys, right here, is a group of 3. The group of black keys just below that, or just to the left of that, is a group of 2. Then the next group is a group of 3, and then a group of 2, and you'll notice this pattern continues pretty much all the way down the keyboard. This pattern of 3 followed by 2, 3 followed by 2, 3 followed by 2. And that's important for letting us know where we are on the piano keyboard, because if we didn't have those groups of 2 and those groups of 3, we would have no idea which white keys are which. So let me show you one of the ways in which those black keys orient us. Let's take a group of 2, and I'm going to take this group of 2 that's right here. Notice we have these 2 black keys, and just to the left of the group of 2, there's a white key. We call that white key that is just to the left of the group of 2, we call that C, the letter C. So we can go up and down the keyboard, and anytime we see a group of 2, we can look just to the left, look at the white note, and that white note will be C. So we can do that all up and down the keyboard, and in fact, if I start all the way down here, there's a C right here, and here, and here, and here. There's a C right here, and there's actually one more C in the keyboard. It doesn't quite follow the rule, but this last white key, this white key that doesn't have any black keys adjacent to it, that actually turns out to be a C as well. So I'm going to play on the piano keyboard that I have in front of me. I'm going to play all of these C's, starting from the very left end, from the low end of the keyboard. So here's the first one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next, and the next, and I'm going to hit the very, very top one. So you can hear that covers a really wide range of musical sound, from very, very low to very, very high. The fourth C that we encounter on a full-size piano keyboard. So if I count up from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4. That fourth C is a very special C. We call that middle C. And anytime you're learning piano, usually middle C is one of the notes that you start learning. Maybe very often the first note that you learn. So on a full-size keyboard, middle C is 4 Cs up from the bottom. Now, if you have a smaller keyboard, that won't necessarily be the case. You have to experiment a little bit to figure out exactly which key is middle C. But in a full-size keyboard, it's always going to be the fourth one. So before you watch the next video, take a moment and take a look at the keyboard in front of you and see if you can find as many Cs as you have on your keyboard. And I will see you in the next video.